But if you were to ask me of specific accomplishments that I'm really proud of, one would be the completion of the Tourism Master Plan, the establishment of a Tourism Enhancement Fund, and eventually the fund itself, and eventually the organization called Tourism Enhancement Fund. And that is one. So when I came to the ministry first, I came in as tourism planner, and my main task was to develop the tourism master plan. But we told ourselves from the outset that for the plan to be meaningful, we would have to identify a source of funding, because we may have the ideas, we may have the skills, but invariably the financial resources is always a problem to get projects developed. And tourism, as it were, we felt that we need to make tourism mainstream, and we need to ensure that a product is developed and that it is properly marketed. And so that drove us to the plan development. And of course, after much consultation and discussions and research, we came up with the idea of establishing the Tourism Enhancement Fund. And to collect that fee, we had to get it as as an entry on incoming tickets to Jamaica, airline tickets. And of course, there's a cruise component for incoming cruise passengers to also pay a small fee. We were allowed by the government of the day to set up the fund, and for us to manage the control and spend of the funds. And that allowed us to begin really making an input in the enhancement of the tourism product in our resort areas and really around the country. And that is going well, as you know, today. And so that is one big accomplishment to have taken through the entire process. The second big accomplishment that I would want to mention is the establishment of the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme. And that too was an iterative process which took some time. In fact, we started as far back as 2012 or thereabouts. And again, it came out of a recognized need that there need to be some kind of safeguard for persons once they get to retirement age, because there are many persons who work as independents or as contract workers, and so in tourism sector. And the idea was that at the end of your work life, in your twilight years, how do you survive? And as you know, we do not have enough persons in Jamaica on some pension scheme. And so the idea came forth, and our minister at the time, it was Minister Griffith at the time, we have done all the research as we had to, and analysis, and consultations. And we have continued through successive administrations of government. And thankfully today, we launched the scheme, and we had the act passed in 2019, but then COVID came. So we're set back by 2 years in its implementation. And so once we saw time passing and we weren't sure what was going to happen with COVID, we couldn't wait for COVID to end before we press on. And so earlier this year, we did another launch of a pension scheme, and we began to do the implementation. As you know, we have Garden Life as the fund administrator, the pension scheme administrator, and Sagicor as a fund manager. Work is happening now, and persons are in fact registering. We already have over 3,000 members of staff and various tourism entities registered. And you know it's a difficult period now, because we're bold in starting at this point in time, because the tourism sector is just beginning to rebound after the greatest impact of the COVID virus. But we continue with sensitization, we continue reaching out to the sector leaders and the workers, and thankfully we're seeing persons interested in the scheme and wanting to be a part of it. And so we're happy about that. So these would be my two big accomplishments that I would want to mention. Tourism is now on the rebound. We were out early, we developed our protocols, with the public and private sector going through all of the elements of it. We work with our partners, Port Authority, Airports Authority, everybody. JTB's marketing arm overseas. And so we kept fully, we didn't stop working for a moment. There was no inertia in tourism. And because of that, and because of the energy of our minister, it is very infectious. So throughout COVID, I was at work every day. I didn't have work from home. I saw it after 9/11. When we thought, oh my Lord, people are a bit afraid of airplanes. But guess what happened? It bounced right back. And so here we are at this time where we have gone through 2 years when the rug was literally pulled from under our feet. And tourism, as you know, was one of those sectors with the greatest impact from the pandemic, right? And we were on a roll, you know. We were really doing very well. In 2019, we were seeing very significant growth, and we had our targets 5 by 5 by 5, you know, and we were heading there and feeling good about it. And then the pandemic came, and we saw the bottom literally just fell out. But we didn't roll over and die. No, we formed this task force for tourism recovery from day one. The task force to deal with the pandemic, and it morphed into a recovery task force. And the nature of our minister during this, the person is his own personality, is that he's a salesperson, he's a good marketer, and he also engages people. And so we have worked over time very, very closely with the tourism private sector. I mean, I can't tell you how many meetings and discussions we have not had, and WhatsApp groups and you name it over this period. But we keep fully abreast of all that is happening. We are in the international market space. We are on the international organizations, OAS and so forth, the World Tourism Organization, Caribbean Tourism Organization. We are involved in what is happening. So we are abreast of all the information as it comes. And we had a whole proposal to develop Falmouth. And to date, it has been done in bits and pieces, but it hasn't come together in a fulsome way as I would have loved to have seen Falmouth. The other, I would say, would be Port Royal. The same thing. Since I was a planning student many, many years ago at the University of Technology, it was then cast. We did a number of community projects, designing and doing community development work for Port Royal. Over time, Tefa spent quite a bit of money in Port Royal. We did, again, small projects, bits and pieces. But for it to come together in its fullness and to realize its true potential hasn't happened yet. Still work in progress. So I would say those two big ones.
But we haven't given up hope. That's good.
No. Work continues even today. From Tefa.